Welcome back to another part of PopCap Arcade. Perusing PopCap's library led me to Zuma Deluxe. Let's get into it. Zuma Deluxe is a classic amongst PopCap's games, all about this adorable frog that's come to civilization in search of secrets. To go over the basics of gameplay, this game is played with the mouse for primary controls. You move the mouse around to aim where the frog is pointed. Left click to fire a ball, right click to swap the ball out to another. On top of the frog, there's a small ball that indicates the colour of what ball is next. This will shuffle as you shoot out the primary ball. You're gonna hear me say ball a lot. Zuma is a match 3 game, with a twist. The targets you have to match are constantly on the move along the path. This can be tough to get matches you like. When you match 3 or more balls of the same colour together, they will burst. If there is a gap along the snake, you can shoot a ball of one colour at the end of the break, say yellow. If on both ends of the break it's a yellow ball, the front end of the snake will reverse and the yellow balls will collide. Depending on how large the gap is, will determine how far the snake is pushed back. If it's a small gap, it will merely pause the snake briefly. If it's a large gap, it will push the snake back by a marginal amount. If there's 3 or more of said balls, they will break upon impact. A nice way to reverse the pacing of a snake if you can pull it off. At the end of the path, there is a skull. As the snake approaches, its mouth will open. If they enter the open face, you lose a life, and you have to retry the level over again. You do have a set amount of lives and can earn lives if you get enough points. They take 50,000 points to earn. Best to play good to not lose any lives. On a note with levels, the snake of balls will continuously flow into a level until the meter at the top is full and green. Once this happens, all balls on the field will flash briefly and will reverse. Once the meter is full, no more balls will enter the level. The end of the snake will be in sight. However, this isn't the end. You have to make sure that all balls on the field are gone. Once this happens, the level will be complete and you can move on to the next level. Speaking of the end of levels, at the end of each level, there is an ace time. The ace time is like par in golf. If you finish before par in golf, you get a better score. The same goes here. If you ace a level before the allocated time, you will get bonus points added towards your score. A nice bonus for sure. In game, you can see the par at any time you like by pressing the T button on your keyboard. Pressing T will show how much time there is left to get an ace on the current level. If you go over this time, you won't get an ace. It's a nice way to track how good you're doing, and if you're on the road for some sweet points. Also, depending on how far the snake of balls is from the face at the end of a track, will determine how many bonus points you receive upon finishing a level. You will get 100 points for each segment of a level from where the final ball is destroyed. Amongst levels, there's pickups that spawn, being coins. These coins will stay on the field for a short duration, 10 seconds to be precise. Shooting a ball with a coin will nab you a nice little chunk of points. The amount of points increases the further you progress into the game. These bonus points will actually count towards the meter at the top of the screen, meaning if you can grab as many of these coins as possible, it can potentially end a level much quicker. This can be a tough endeavour to fulfill though, as the coins will spawn in pretty bad locations, usually behind the snake of balls. Given the coloured balls you have are randomly selected, this can be impossible to obtain the coins more often than not, unfortunately. The snake starts off with a few colours, and gradually, more are added to the palette as you progress. The original colours between stages 1 to 3 are red, yellow, blue, and green. Between stages 4 and 6, purple is added to the mix. The addition of just one more coloured ball makes a massive difference in difficulty, adding on more RNG, or random number generation, onto what there was. So with 5 colours, it's now a 1 in 5 chance that you get the coloured ball you want, instead of what was originally 1 in 4. This makes it surprisingly tougher. Between stages 7 and 9, grey is added to the colour palette. The grey ball being added again increases the difficulty, quite dramatically too, as now it's a 1 in 6 chance to get the colour ball you would like. This can make matches very tough to obtain, as at this point in the game, matches being ready for you have much lower odds of spawning in. Rather, you will commonly see mismatched coloured balls, meaning you have to make your own matches. This can make it very tough to progress at times. As you progress through the game, the snake will actually progress further along the track at the start of a level. At first, it doesn't go too far into the track, but the further you progress, it will get closer and closer to the end of the track from the very start. And with matches ready to break being less frequent, it can be a tough difficulty spike, no doubt. It feels like it moves faster as you progress further into the game too. Between stages 7 and 9, I earned 3 lives and then promptly lost 4. Given the coloured balls are randomly selected, it can be very difficult to finish a level sometimes. In fact, I've come across impossible levels more often than not when nearing the end of the game. It can sometimes take multiple attempts to complete a level, as the game just doesn't give enough matches, and the addition of not giving you the colour balls you would prefer at the time to make the level possible to complete. To combat difficulty at points in the game, there's power-ups. These will randomly appear on one of the balls in the field of play. Similar to the coins, these power-ups aren't in play for long, which is quite unfortunate as some are quite powerful. I'll show the corresponding icon as I list through them. The power-ups are Accuracy Ball. Obtaining this power-up will grant the frog with a laser sight, directing to where the ball will go. On top of this, the ball he shoots will fly faster than usual. This can make getting tricky shots much easier. Accuracy Ball will last for 20 seconds. Explosion. This power-up will make the ball explode, wiping out a decent chunk of other balls around it. This can be quite handy in a pinch. Slowdown Ball. This power-up will make the snake of balls slow down to a crawl. It lasts for around 8 seconds. Backwards Ball. This power-up will force the snake of balls to move in reverse, moving the front to back. If the front isn't connected to the rest of the snake, only the front segment will move backwards. Backwards Ball will force the snake of balls back for 3 seconds. After its effects end, it will briefly pause the snake for a moment. The power-ups are very powerful, each having their own use. When they appear, do your best to grab them before they fizzle out. When a power-up fizzles out, the icon will blink a few times, and then the ball will return to normal, indicating the power-up is gone. Aside from the adventure mode, there's another game mode called Gauntlet. Here you can test out your Zuma skills on any of the 21 levels offered to you. You start out on easy difficulty. The snake of balls is slow, filling the bar at the top will increase the difficulty slightly. Over time, new ball colours will be added to the snake. You play on Gauntlet to get a high score, and eventually you will lose. The question is, how long will you last? Back to adventure mode though. On my Zuma playthrough, I can't say I actually finished the game, unfortunately enough. I was looking forward to doing so, however, the game's difficulty was just too much for me to progress. At stage 12, I lost all of my lives. When retrying, I found out that I would start at the beginning of stage 12. However, I was only given 3 lives. I feel this just isn't enough to progress for the difficulty offered. I got fairly far from my attempts, but for how valiantly I tried, I just couldn't get anywhere. I didn't have the resolve to persevere. After a good old go at it, 2 hours of failed attempts on these few levels to be precise, I had to throw in the towel. It's a shame too, as Zuma Deluxe is quite fun, but for my sanity's sake, I had to give up. Zuma's fun, but Zuma's stressful. Zuma Deluxe is a great game. In my opinion, it's definitely a tough game, one of the hardest I've played in a while actually, which is quite surprising. With the offering that Zuma Deluxe provides, if you're up for a challenge, enjoy Match 3 games, are good at micromanaging, and want a bit of stress to add onto that, Zuma Deluxe is the game for you. However, if you find that you're easily stressed out and you can't micromanage very well, Zuma might not be the game for you. Zuma's one of PopCap's more challenging games, no doubt. It's fast-paced, has a cool frog, and quick snappy gameplay. If you enjoyed the gameplay of Zuma Deluxe and want to try it for yourself, then I say go for it. It's one of PopCap's classics that can be found on Steam for fairly cheap occasionally. PopCap's games are on sale for pretty cheap a lot of the time too. But for now, this has been the second part to the PopCap Arcade. I've been CinnaBunny, and I'll catch you later, mate.